Race 5 of the BMW IBSF Women's Bobsleigh World Cup. We're in Winterberg in Germany, in the Hochsauerland, just to the east of the Ruhr Valley. Hello everybody, welcome to our coverage this snowy Saturday in a winter wonderland. Racing behind closed doors, but racing nevertheless. It's the 5th of 8 World Cups this strange season, and also the European Championships. This Winterberg track is well known by most of our sliders, just over 1.3 kilometers. Gentle start with a very mild gradient, picks up speed from about corner 5. You have to push just over the brow here, get in, get down. Little dink in corner 0, try not to take too much of that. That was introduced when the new start facility was built. Then corner 1. Omega corner 2, 180-degree corner. Out of corner 3 here, you start to go a little uphill, over the brow, in corner 4, and then a gentle decline into 5. You drop about 3 stories in turn 5. You really see how we're picking up speed. 6 and into 7, the Kreisel. 2 pressures, and a little bit more on the exit, into 8, and then the big corner 9. Big left-hander. Little dink, that's corner 10. This is 11. 2 pressures here. Very hard to get the exit right, but crucial because 12, 13, and then this big final corner 14 follow. 14 goes on forever. Finish line there, just as you roll across it, almost literally in some cases. Alana Myers-Taylor has the start record from December 2015. From February that year, Anja Schneiderheinze with the track record from the World Championships. Kim Kalicki is our World Cup points leader for the first time ever. This World Cup debutant this season has the points lead from Katchenbeil and Melanie Hassler, with Andrea Greco and Lauren Alter, all relatively new names in the field, ahead of our Olympic champion Mariama Yamanca. Yamanca was stood down for a race before Christmas and has dropped a little down the World Cup standings as a result, but she's not been off the podium in the races she has started. Well, all the athletes warming up just before the start of the race. There is Mariama Yamanca. She will go in the race with Leonie Fiebig, and we welcome back US and Canadian athletes. There is both, actually. Katie Humphries, ex-Canadian, now US athlete. So the Canadians and the US athletes are here. There will be a slight delay for our first sled. One of the 4 runners has crashed, as we always say about tracks like Innsbruck and Winterberg, although they're straightforward tracks, hi Alana, and although they are well known, particularly by junior drivers. You bring drivers here a lot to train them. That doesn't mean it's easy. Even the best ice skaters fall over on an ice rink. That's why it's racing, because they are on the edge. And even the 4 runners are pushing the boundaries. So there'll be just a little bit of tidy up. There you can see our start list. We get away with Anne van Nieuwenhuis of Belgium, Lubov Chernik of Russia. The Russians are back. Martina Fontenev and so on. And then we go all the way down where we find our US and Canadian sliders. Brittany Reinbold Johnson, Kaylee Humphries, Alana Myers-Taylor, and Christina Brown join in. And a new Russian slider as well, Anastasia Makarova. Getting ready to start race 5 of the BMW IBSF Women's Bobsleigh World Cup with Anne van Nieuwenhuis and Sarah Ertz of Belgium. Sarah, a winter and summer Olympian, competed in London 2012 as a heptathlete, and she raced in Pyeongchang in the Winter Games as well. And our jury just checking their watches, their delay because of the 4-runner crash. There we go, looks like we are getting ready to get underway. Anne van Nieuwenhuis now 29 years of age. Finished in 9th place in Winterberg last season, and was also 9th in the European Championships. The European Championships are in Sigulda. There are the D-rings, the metal handles that are used to pull the cables that drive the sled, and they're held in the middle of the cowl there by bungee straps from the top and from the bottom. So when the driver jumps in, they put their hands right to where the D-rings are, and they are always there. So let's get this competition underway then with Anne van Nieuwenhuis and Sarah Ertz. Great new livery on the Belgian sled. Let's see what the Belgian bullets have got for us this morning. They won't be the fastest starters, but Anne knows how to find speed on this track. 5:78 getaway. Start record is 5:43. It's a clear morning this morning. It's been a very snowy couple of weeks in Winterberg, as you can clearly see. Wonder what the track has got in store for us today. Uphill out of 3 into 4. Neat line, and then 5. Building speed here is critical. It's sort of a 2-aspect corner. Into 7, first pressure in the Kreisel, hold it. Second pressure, look for the exit. Nice stuff from Anne van Nieuwenhuis. Down into corner 9. There you can see the marks from the crash sled in the ice. 10, 11, and then 12 and 13. Leading up to the seal curve, corner 14, which goes on and uphill forever. Ducks ahead across the line, 57.44. 9/10 off the all-time track record, which stands to Anja Schneider-Heinze and Annika Dradzek from the World Championships here in February 2015. Alana Mars-Taylor and Lolo Jones set the start record the following December, and Alana and Lolo are back together again. Little nudge away there for Anne. In this 5-6 transition, little skid there, late pressure on 5, put her into a skid through 6. And that sets you up a little awkwardly for the Kreisel. Great tracking shot through 11 there. So Anne van Nieuwenhuis, Sarah Ertz are down and done in Heat 1 for Belgium. 18 sleds in the field, so everybody who completes the run will get a second heat. And welcome back to the Russians. They missed Innsbruck because of positive COVID testing. Not for all of them, but for a couple in the bubble. Lubov Chernik, 25 years of age now, and Elena Mamedova, her brakewoman. Lubov in her 16th World Cup, and Elena in her 9th. Started in 2016, and the brakewoman is the reigning European champion in women's bobsleigh. Won that title with Nadia Pasternak in Sigulda last year. 5:73, 500s ahead of Anne van Nieuwenhuis. Lubov Chernik's World Cup best result is still 4th on her debut in Sigulda back in 2018. And she was 7th in last year's Europeans on the same track. This is the European Championships as well for all 5 disciplines, men and women's skeleton, men and women's 2-man bobsled, and for the 4-man bob. Lubov Chernik in the green all the way down here. 92.5, just a whisker quicker than van Nieuwenhuis. A couple of hundreds up at the start, 500s up. Let's see what she's got in the tank. 130.3, good speed at the bottom. Oh, and almost hangs it up too high on the finish corner. That cost her a little. 57.35, started 500s quicker than Anne van Nieuwenhuis and finished only 900s quicker. And for motor racing fans, the Valentino Rossi helmet. Asked her about that actually here in Winterberg last year when she ran it for the first time. I said, "You a Rossi fan?" She said, "Who?" Just like the design. Well, there you go. Nice load from the driver. Just took a little moment more than she wanted perhaps to get in. Hands on the D-rings just as they run out. And again, little late in 5 and skidding into 6. Same mistake as Anne van Nieuwenhuis. And late on the final corner, we do see sleds roll there. Barely a year goes by. Lubov Chernik not driving in gloves. Some do, most don't. Martina Fonteneve up for Switzerland next. 34-year-old was 10th in the race here last year, just ahead of Lubov Chernik. 8th in the Europeans in Sigulda. This is her 28th World Cup start and a 15th for brakewoman Nadia Pasternak. Nadia has cycled between this sled and the sled of Melanie Hassler this season. 5:62 getaway. Nice and tidy. Out of corner 2 here, and down into 3. And the vagaries of geography mean you go uphill a little into corner 4, back down towards 5. Building the speed here. An onboard view of the track at the beginning shows you just how quickly you build speed out of 5. From the Kreisel, nice looking exit. 9, kind of bypass 10 and then into 11. And 12, 13, 11, 12, 13, nominally the lower labyrinth. And across the line, a little tidier, but 600s behind, 57.41. So 300s ahead of Anvan Nieuwenhuis and 600s behind Lubov Chernik. So our first three sleds down, covered by 1100ths of a second, and they are likely to be battling around the bottom end of the top 10 with each other. That's where they were in last year's field. A little nudge away there as she came out of turn 4. Again here, just a little late on the transition. I think the track is probably running a bit faster this morning in race trim than it was during the training days. A little clearer, the sky this morning. Not much, but a little. So a bit less humidity, maybe. There's the greatest bratwurst stand in the bobsleigh world just down there, and heartbreaking to see it closed, but needs must. Next up, Katrin Beil of Austria, 32nd World Cup start for her. She lies second in the points. Jennifer Anastasia behind her, 21st start for her. European bronze medalist with Christina Hengster here in 2017, Jennifer was. And these two were the Europeans bronze medalists together in 2019, so they got plenty of history in the European Championships. Katrin Beil, 900s up, fastest start at 5:64. Second fastest start, rather. Katty finished 8th here last year. Into the 5, into 6. Looks neat and tidy at full speed. I'm sure the slow-mos will show us different. Best speed so far for the Austrian driver, 94 kilometers an hour, quicker than Van Nieuwenhuis. Lubov Chernik's Russian sled was the fastest down the bottom. She's behind Chernik at the moment. What's she got? 2500s, in fact the gap has grown, momentarily went red, 130.2, that's good enough, and across the line, 2600s up, quarter second of the lead. That is a good-looking run from Katrin Beil of Austria. On really good form this season, silver medalist in the first race in Sigulda. She's not been out of the top 5 since. She's not been on the podium since, with 2 fourths and a 5th place. But good point scoring. Nice high line in 11. There's a big bump there and the beginning of the second pressure. And the 11-12 crossover. So Katrin Beil of Austria, second in the points. Again, just a little late on the release there. The track is definitely running a little quicker, I think, than it was in training. Next up, Lara Nolte for Germany. 22 years old with 23-year-old brakewoman Deborah Levy. These two have spent a lot of time together. Bronze medalist here in last year's race in Winterberg. It's her 10th World Cup. She's had 3 wins and 4 podiums. Only 1 race has she finished off the podium. Youth Olympic champion in 2016 in Lillehammer is certainly living up to her early billing. Little rub off 0. Wasn't the tidiest. Deborah Levy, the brakewoman, has only ever finished 2 races off the podium. One was a crash in Sigulda where the 2 didn't finish at all. Second best speed, Lara Nolte with the lead by nearly a quarter of a second though. And this is going to put Fontenev, Van Nieuwenhuis and Nolte and Chernik rather a long way back. They're already a quarter of a second off Katrin Beil. The gap's coming down. Very late off 13. 2200s up at the line. Well, that error at the bottom will definitely frustrate her, but another good-looking run from Lara Nolte. Every time this woman sits in a sled, she is an absolute medal candidate. Crashed out in race 1 in Sigulda. She won race 2, she won race 1 in Innsbruck, and she was silver medalist in race 2, behind teammate Stephanie Schneider. We could still be watching Lara Nolte claim medal after medal after medal a decade from now. That was late. Got away with that, and again, look at that. Yep. Well, they got it down and got it safe. She does like riding on the edge, Lara Nolte, no question at all about that. Anyway, she hasn't finished. They crashed out. Lara Nolte leads from Katibal and Lubovchanik early in race heat number 1. Top 5 sleds are gone from our start draw. Next, we get to sled number 6. This is Melanie Hassler, the 22-year-old Swiss, lies 3rd in the points, and a first World Cup race this season, in fact, since Calgary in February 2019 for Irina Strebel, the 24-year-old making her 10th World Cup start, the first in nearly 24 months. Melanie Hassler, 4th in Sigulda Race 1, the Insurance Clark's best World Cup result. Raced here in the Europa Cup and in the Junior Worlds in the last couple of seasons. It's only her 6th World Cup. So 1 last year before the World Championships, and then the 5, this is her 5th this year. And yet she is still 3rd in the standings. A 4th, 2 5ths and a 7th place, her results, yet to claim a medal. She's behind by half a second. This is going to leave her roughly where we find teammates Martina Fontenev, 64 hundredths back. Up here the Ramseidel gives a little ripple of applause. Melanie Hassler would be a little disappointed with that, I think. 5.70 for a 57.51 run. And Irina Strebel dusting off the cobwebs, back in harness for the first time in almost 2 years. Her last race was the World Championships in Whistler 2019, and boy, does that seem like a lifetime ago. Out of 0, little dink, and another one down to curve 1. There's Irina and Melanie Hassler at the front of the sled. As we get to our World Cup points leader, 23-year-old junior world champion Kim Kalicki. She won the Junior Worlds here in 2020. She's got 3 silvers and 3 bronze medals in her previous 6 World Cup races. That's right, not a winner yet, but never off the podium. Her 7th World Cup, and Kristen Strack, her brakewoman, in her 22nd World Cup. And she too has 2 wins and 6 podium finishes under her belt, including a World Championship silver. Strack won on this track with Stephanie Schneider 2 seasons ago. Kim Kalicki has won a Junior World Championship gold medal on this track. She's got a silver, and she's also won a Junior World bronze on this track, so she does know Winterberg well. She is behind by 15 hundredths. They started 12 hundredths behind their teammates, Lara Nolte and Deborah Levy, but the gap is coming down. Best speed from Kim Kalicki. How close will this be at the line? Still 11 hundredths. 130.8, again a whisker quicker than Nolte. 14 hundredths at the line. Lara Nolte lying in 5th place in the World Cup standings, but with 2 wins and a silver and a crash. Kim Kalicki more consistent, but not quite as quick, yet to claim her first World Cup win. Shakes her head a little. And they're all using the same FES 2-seat sled, and it's what they've done with their runner preparation and runner setup, as well as the driving, that might make a difference. Just getting a little hung up, everybody on the exit of 5 into 6. Look at her head moving around, so she's looking around the V in the cowl. See her looking below it, above it, below it. 8th of our 18 sliders is Australia's Brianna Walker, 28-year-old, finished in 13th place here last year. This is her 7th World Cup, won gold in the monobob race in Innsbruck, and also had her best World Cup result, 8th place finish in race 1, despite the fact they crashed in the second heat. Sarah Blizzard, the 24-year-old sprinter from Canberra, made her debut in Innsbruck in January 2020. It's her 4th World Cup race. So let's see what Brie Walker has got here. She's been on the podium in Europa Cup racing here. Raced in the last World Cup race here last year. Neat-looking run so far, gets a little nudged away before the Kreisel. 3rd best speed for Brianna Walker. Spent a lot of time, she's been in Europe all summer long. Training near Erfurt. A lot of the German athletes. Good speed, good lines from Brie Walker. 6th best speed, and at the moment it's a top 5 run. She is 5th of the line, ahead of, tied with Martina Fonteneve of Switzerland. Ahead of Anne van Nieuwenhuis and Melanie Hassler. And 600s behind Lubov Chernik. That should be a top 10 run from Brie Walker and Sarah Blizzard. Just get a little nudged away in that crossover. From 6 into 7. Yeah, great view down into the sled of the salubrious, glamorous and comfortable location that you'll find a brakeman or brakewoman in a sled. Bent double, clinging on for dear life to tiny little finger grips in some ice-cold tubing. Comfort, it is not built for. Halfway through our first heat, race 5 for the BMW IBSF Women's Bobsleigh World Cup. This is France's Margot Bock, and making her debut, Sandy Claire behind her. 32-year-old former track cyclist from Toulon in the south of France, now a sports coach. Junior world champion and a World Championship silver medal sprint cyclist. She competed in the Games in London and in Rio. This is her first ever bobsled race. Sandy Claire behind Margot Bock. Margot raced here to 8th place in the Junior Worlds last February. Margot Bock in her 6th World Cup start. 9th at the start. They're currently 9th on the splits. $5,500s back. She's holding that gap, and that means she's moving up ahead of Anne van Nieuwenhuis of Belgium. She is. She's in 7th place, 100th ahead of Anne, and 200s behind the tie between Brie Walker and Martina Fonteneve. Sandy Claire's brother, the brakewoman, her brother is also her coach, or was her coach in track cycling. And they were looking for something to do together. The thought was that he would drive and she would produce the horsepower. So they went and found bobsledding. And in the end, she loved it so much that she contacted the French team. And hey presto, here she is making her first ever official World Cup start, her first ever official bobsleigh start in a race. So Margot Bock and Sandy Claire bringing in new talent to French bobsledding. 42nd World Cup start for Great Britain's Misha McNeil. Misha finished in 12th place here in last year's race. Montel Douglas, her brakewoman from Lewisham in London, in her 15th World Cup start. 2017, Misha McNeil was the junior world champion in women's bobsleigh on this track. World Cup best. A couple of 4th place finishes in Altenburg a couple of years ago when she led Heat 1, and in Innsbruck most recently. Ooh, got a corner 0 and a double tap down into 1. Takes away precious speed from the start. 4,800s back before she gets to corner 4. That is a lot of speed to lose. Reinbold still the race leader from Kim Kalicki, her teammate. One more German sled to go. 8th best start from Miss McNeil. Currently 8th on the splits. She's recovering a little ground. Had dropped down to 9th place. Best speed of all down at the bottom of the track. Maybe some of the early morning frost is starting to ease away. But that wasn't a bad looking run. 9th place at the bottom, 100th behind Anne van Nieuwenhuis. So we've now got Walker, Fontenev, Bock, van Nieuwenhuis and McNeil, covered by 400ths of a second. That's 5 sleds, 400ths of a second. That is the nature of this Winterberg track. Well, she catches her knee trying to get in over the cow, and that just unbalances her, slows her down a little, catches her knee, getting in, and they're out of the drive lines. She's still settling. Monty in the back, still settling. They don't have a big skid, but she doesn't have control where she needs it down to corner 0, and that's where that speed went away. Reinbold, Kim Kalicki, Kati Bile are the top 3 after the first 10 of our 18 sleds here in Winterberg. Olympic champion Mariama Yamanca, the 2019 world champion, has won European Championship gold here in Winterberg in 2017 and in 2019. She starts with Leonie Fiebig today, the 30-year-old former gymnast from Cologne. Fiebig's 10th World Cup race, 41st for Mariama Yamanca. Yamanca was the silver medalist on this track last year. Last year's race won by Stephanie Schneider and Kira Lipperheider. Schneider has made just 1 World Cup appearance this year, the last race before Christmas. Best speed for Mariama Yamanca, just quicker than Kim Kalicki. Slower than Kalicki though at this stage by half a kilometre. Kalicki the fastest at the bottom, 130.8 kilometres an hour. Yamanca needs all of that if she's going to be challenging for the lead. It's slipping away, 131.3, best speed, but too late. 3 tenths back in 4th place for Mariama Yamanca. So Mariama Yamanca in 4th, behind Kati Bile by 800ths, but 3 tenths off the lead. Yamanca, silver medalist in the last couple of years here. She's not won in Winterberg. In fact, she's had 3 silvers and a bronze in the last 4 outings on this track. We look back to 2015-16 as the last year that Mariama Yamanca didn't have a medal here, but there were no Europeans on the podium then. Jamie Grubel-Poser beat Alana Myers-Taylor and Kaylee Humphreys. Andrea Grecu of Romania next up with Katharina Vick, making her 5th World Cup start for Romania as a brakewoman. She was formerly a German skeleton slider, Kati Vick. Andrea Grecu in her 41st World Cup start, her 21st as a driver. European Championship silver medalist in Sigulda in February, and that race still her World Cup best as well, a silver medal. She raced in the Europa Cup races here in November. She also raced monobob here in November, so she's got recent experience of this track. Finished 6th in last year's Winterberg race, and of course, this is home territory for Romania because this is where Paul Niagu, who is the linchpin of the team, lives and has his physiotherapy practice. Right next to the Blackwater pub, handily enough. So you can get body and soul well massaged in the same part of town. 4 tenths back for Grecu. 6th best start, but she's drifting out to 8th place at the moment. 6th place finish here last year. Still looking like a neat and tidy run. Top 8, she's going to be around that massive clump with Bree Walker, Lubov Chernik, Martina Fontenev, Carla Bock, she's in 8th place, so she's right in there, tied to the 100th of a second with Carla Bock. 100th ahead of Anne van Nieuwenhuis, 200s ahead of Misha McNeil. And actually only 800s ahead of Melanie Hassler. So where we go from Bree Walker and Martina Fontenev in 6th place together, down to Melanie Hassler in 12th, there is a 10th. Covering at the moment 7 sleds. And there is plenty of room to get a few more in there as well. So the Romanians currently tied for 8th with Margot Bock of France. There's a tie ahead of them. Bree Walker, Martina Fontenev for 6th. Lubov Chernik, who's 600s ahead of them, in 5th. Here's our second Russian sled and our reigning European champion. A welcome return to the World Cup for St. Petersburg's Nadezhda Sergeva, the 33-year-old. Finished in 5th place in Winterberg last year. And Alexandra Tarasova, her brakewoman, makes her debut. Last year she raced in the Europa Cup. That was her first season on ice. The 25-year-old now makes her first ever World Cup start. 48th World Cup for Nadezhda Sergeva. She did 4 as a brakewoman. She's now done 40, or this is her 44th as a driver. Good pair of hands. She's had 1 World Cup win, 1 silver medal, both in Sigulda. 6th best at the start, but down to 9th place already on the split times. She lost speed early on, only the 6th best speed in the Kreisel as well. And lost more in the Kreisel. Line is pretty wavy there. Out of 11 into 12, 13, little rocky transition, saw her brakewoman Tarasova getting bumped around a little. Not great speed at the bottom. And that's how the brakemen know where they are. A lot of the brakemen saying, yeah, very slow at the start, then zhoo, 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 and then through the final corner. That's when you know where you are. And when all the shaking stops, you pop up and hit the brakes. I think they find it hard to count down here. So Nadezhda Sergeva comes across the line in 13th place, 6800s back. It was not a top draw drive from Sergeva. Timing was just off about everywhere. A little late there, you can see she's just ahead of the white lines, and again there, just above them. Didn't have great speed, and as a result, the lines were not there. Lots to think about before the second heat for Nadezhda Sergeva, the reigning European champion. Well, next up, welcome back to the USA, and this is Brittany Reinbold Johnson, born in Riverside, California, now lives in West Portsmouth, Ohio, with her new husband. 27th World Cup start for her, 38th for brakewoman, veteran now, Lauren Gibbs. World champion in 2020. Lauren has 6 wins and 11 podiums in her portfolio. Will be getting a little nudged away there. Brittany Reinbold self-funded. Her last World Cup race was December 2019 in Lake Placid. Came over to driving Winterberg earlier in the season. Flew over, borrowed a sled from the Romanians just to keep her 5.32 up. 5 races, 3 tracks in 2 years. That's what you need to have done to be eligible for World Cup. A 9th best start. Speed is drifting away from this US sled. They're going to be right around where Nadezhda Sergeva is. 14th place with a 57.75, so behind Sergeva. Well, welcome back to Brittany Reinbold and Lauren Gibbs. Congratulations as well to Brittany. Got married last year. And self-funding her trip here for the USA. As we talked about in the skeleton races, for all the sliders who have not competed in the first half of the World Cup to be doing the gym work, doing the ice house work, doing the selection races, and then having to sit and watch on YouTube as everybody else gets on with the World Cup campaign must have been ultimately frustrating. And they are glad to be back for sure in a new sled named the Black Pearl. Captain Jack, or Kaylee Humphries as you probably know her, 126th World Cup start, her 7th for the USA. For Kaylee Humphries, the two-time Olympic champion. She's won 4 of her 7 World Cup starts for the USA, and she won her only World Championships for the USA as well in Altenburg. She's got Sylvia Hoffman back behind her, the 31-year-old brakewoman, making her 7th start. And Sylvia won her last bobsleigh race, which is January 2020 in Koenigsegg. So she'll be expecting much the same thing, I think, from Kaylee Humphries here. A 10th away at the start with a 5:59. 2500ths away. Now, what can Kaylee find here? One back here in 2012-13 with Chelsea Valois behind her for Canada. She also won a team gold medal that day. There'll be many days where you win 2 World Cup gold medals on the same day. 5th place, 3700s back. 700s behind Mariama Yamanca. So the season finally gets underway. 2020-2021 season for a North American athlete is just a 2021 season. Again, I'm sure if you ask them, they will take anything in terms of racing that they can get right now. As ever, Kaylee has been keeping the training regime up, as anybody who follows her on social media will know, gets hooked up getting into the sled. A rare error from the veteran driver. So Kaylee Humphries and Sylvia Hoffman are 15th off 18 sleds in this 5th race of the BMW IBSF Women's Bobsleigh World Cup. Lara Nolter, Kim Kalicki, Katie Bile, the top 3. A World Cup debutante next in Winterberg, Anastasia Makarova of Russia. 22-year-old has been a winner in monobob. She's raced in Europa Cup for 2 seasons. Silver in the under-23 Junior Worlds in 2020. This is one of 6 tracks that she has driven. Behind her, Julia Belomesnik. 14th World Cup start for the brakewoman. Won silver with Nadezhda Sergeyeva in Sigulda in 2019. Belomesnik's been round the block a couple of times, done 4 European Championships, 2 World Championships and the Olympic Games. Whereas Makarova, her driver, this is all very new indeed. 10th at the start, but like her teammate Nadezhda Sergeyeva, the speed is going away. She does know the track. It looks like the Russian sleds are not holding their speed. Only Lubov Chernik has produced any speed worthy of the name. 12th best velocity at the line. She is behind Nadezhda Sergeyeva and ahead of Brittany Reinbold Johnson. Her and Brittany will have a 700ths of a second battle between themselves, 15th and 16th at the moment. So World Cup debut for Anastasia Makarova of Russia. Julia Belomesnik coming in a little lopsided. Two sleds to go in the first of 2 heats, and returning to the fray a little later than expected, so some more post-maternity recovery for Elena Myers-Taylor. Elena Myers-Taylor, rather, with husband Nick and baby Nico here, with Lolo Jones behind her. Lolo, there's Nick and Nico. Nice stuff. And a Patriots hat as well, can't argue with that. 86 World Cup start for Alana Myers-Taylor, 5 as a break woman. And a 19th, 38-year-old Lolo Jones. Well, let's see what they've got. 5-6-0 at the start. And Lolo determined to give it one more run around. Didn't get to go to Pyeongchang, looking for selection for the 2022 Olympic Games. And these two pair up really well. Lolo Jones' last World Cup was January 2018 in St. Moritz. She won with Alana, 11th best speed. They are 6th at the moment. The golden pairing may not be golden here again, but St. Moritz is definitely one of the happy places for Alana. Gets nudged away there. See the sled just take a little tap at the back, big long skid. Speed going away, but it's still a top 5 run. 3900s back, 3700s back his teammate Kaillie Humphries. It's going to be a battle of the titans between these two in Team USA. So they are 6th, Humphries 5th, and the medals are 1700s away from Alana and 1500s away from Kaillie. That is achievable. Nick and Nico, well, not the best synchronized hit maybe. That will come. Again, look at that low heel return from former hurdler Lolo Jones. Such a distinctive running start. And here she gets knocked away, Alana, just a little nudge away, throws the sled into a high-speed drift. Keeping right down the middle of the tracks in corner 11. There's Alana and baby Nico. I don't know how many years before he's in harness. Final sled today from Canada, Christina Brown, making her 27th World Cup start, and Sarah Villani, her first ever World Cup race. The 24-year-old break woman has done 7 North America's Cup races with Melissa Lottholtz, had 3 podium finishes. The native of Mississauga, Ontario, is going to find this very different indeed. Christina Brown's last race was the World Championships in Altenburg, where she finished in the bronze medal position. 3 silvers and 1 bronze in World Cup races for Christine. 2 World Championship bronzes and a team silver. She was 3rd in the World Championships, 3rd in the World Cup standings last year. A little late there, but it's still a top 5 run. Christina Brown has not got race rusty. 5th at the line, tied to the 100th with Kaillie Humphries. Just encouraging break woman Sarah Villani to feather the brakes a little to get them up the slope into the finish area. Good job from Christina Brown. She is in 5th place, tied with former teammate Kaillie Humphries. Just gets a little nudge away there, but a 57.24 slide. So 6th best start, 5th at the finish line. The medals might be a potential here for Christina Brown. Finished in 7th place in this race last year. Of course, that was in January, after they'd already had half a season. Our first heat leader, though, is Lara Nolte with Deborah Levy again behind her. These two have competed in all their World Cup races together. And so far, Lara Nolte, in her 10th start, has 3 wins and 4 further podiums. 1 non-podium finish, 1 crash. It's a remarkable record so far for Lara Nolte and Deborah Levy, and they lead by 1400ths from our points leader, Kim Kalicki with Anne Kristen Schrack. Kati Bile and Jennifer Onosanya are 3rd, ahead of Mariama Yamanca with Leonie Fiebig. Then Christina Brown, Kaillie Humphries, ahead of Alana Myers-Taylor, Lubov Chernik. Bree Walker, tied with Martina Fonteneve. Margot Bock, tied with Angia Grecu. 100th ahead of Van Nieuwenhuis, 100th ahead of Misha McNeil. Then Melanie Hassler, 400s ahead of Nadia Pasternak, with Anastasia Makarova and Brittany Reinbold battling to avoid being the Lanterne Rouge. All of that and more, perhaps, will come in our second heat. Join us for that. We will be back at 10:45 local, 09:45, 45 minutes from now. Until then, from me, Martin Haven, and the IBSF TV crew, thanks for being with us. See you shortly.